It was 1999, my senior year at a small high school in the middle of nowhere. The place wasn't much, just a few hundred students, but it had a reputation. Stories circulated among the students, passed down from generation to generation, about the old basement underneath the school. No one really knew its history, but the tale went like this. Anyone who stayed down there after 4 p.m. never came back. We, of course, being teenagers, thought it was all just a joke, a stupid story to keep people from messing around in the basement. But that all changed one Friday night. It was a chilly afternoon, the sun setting early, as it always did that time of year. My friends and I, Sarah, Jason, and Kyle, were bored. Kyle, the reckless one, suggested we spend the last hour after school exploring the infamous basement. We had heard the janitors complaining about the strange noises from down there, the flickering lights, but we didn't care. It was just a dare. The rest of us were hesitant, but there was no backing out once Kyle called us out for being scared. We met in the hallway at 3:30 p.m., grabbed flashlights from our lockers, and made our way down the stairs into the basement. The air down there was cold, unnaturally cold. The old brick walls were damp, and the sound of dripping water echoed faintly. As we walked further, the ceiling lights, already dim, began flickering every few steps. It wasn't long before Jason, who had been leading the way, stopped suddenly. "Did you hear that?" he asked, his voice shaky. We all strained our ears, and there it was, a faint scratching noise, like nails dragging across the concrete walls. Sarah laughed nervously. "It's probably just rats. This place hasn't been used in decades." But the look in her eyes betrayed her words. We were all on edge. The further we went, the more wrong everything felt. We passed a room that looked like it had been untouched for years. Desks were overturned, and papers were scattered across the floor, but it wasn't that which got our attention. It was the chalkboard, and the words scrawled across it in large, uneven handwriting. "Get out before it's too late." Jason brushed it off, saying someone probably wrote it years ago, but the handwriting looked fresh, like it had just been written moments before we arrived. Kyle, stubborn as ever, urged us on. But as we walked deeper into the maze of rooms and hallways, the scratching grew louder. It was then that we noticed something unsettling. The clocks. Every clock we passed, no matter the room, was frozen at exactly 4 p.m. We were starting to get freaked out, and Sarah insisted we leave. But Kyle was determined to find whatever was making the noise. We turned a corner into a long hallway, at the end of which was a single old metal door. Without saying a word, Kyle started towards it. The rest of us hung back, unsure, but we couldn't leave him alone. He opened the door. It screeched on its rusty hinges, revealing nothing but pitch-black darkness. Kyle's flashlight flickered as he stepped inside. We called after him, but he didn't respond. Suddenly, we heard the door slam shut with a deafening bang. The lights in the hallway flickered out, plunging us into darkness. The only sound was our frantic breathing and that persistent scratching, now right behind us. We banged on the door, screaming for Kyle, but there was no answer. When we finally managed to pry it open, the room was empty. Kyle was gone, vanished, as if he had never been there. Jason and Sarah were freaking out, and I could barely keep it together myself. That's when we heard it. His voice, faint but unmistakable. "Help me." It was coming from deep within the walls, but no matter how much we searched, we couldn't find him. His voice echoed through the basement, growing more distorted, more inhuman. It was 3:59 p.m.